The St. Louis Cardinals have added a left-hander to their bullpen mix, plus two Cardinal prospects are garnering some attention from MLB executives ahead of the 2026 season.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And welcome to another episode of Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to the everydayers for always being here. For you that are new, welcome in. I hope you do enjoy the content because this is a show that serves Cardinal Nation and gives you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Saturday is when it all gets underway. On today's show, we had a major trade between the Cubs and the Miami Marlins that will affect the NL Central, which two Cardinals prospects have the national media talking about them in a positive light. We are awaiting word on the arbitration news for a handful of players. Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, JoJo Romero, Nolan Gorman, Andre Palante, Matthew Liberatore. They're all arbitration eligible. So we'll find out today whether or not they have come to an agreement or they're going to go to arbitration and have to figure out who's making what. So that's something that we'll be awaiting word on. But we start with the addition that was made earlier this week. And it's not exactly a needle mover, I know. And I loved all the sarcastic replies in the comment section about World Series, here we come. Start planning the parade down Market. Good to see the fans haven't lost their sense of humor this offseason. But the Cardinals, they added something that, frankly, they needed. They needed a veteran left-hander to help out in their group of relievers that they have already. And his name is Justin Bruihl, which immediately when I heard his name made me think of Zool from Ghostbusters 1984, the OG of all the Ghostbuster movies. Will the Cardinals faithful actually do that when he comes out of the pen? Like when that gate swings open, are we going to get the sound effect that we get like when JD Drew used to come out or Lars Nootbaar comes up to the plate and we get a Justin Bruihl? Probably not, because most people have never heard of Justin Bruihl, and that's okay. He hasn't done all that much to draw a whole lot of attention so that you would know who the heck this guy is. You certainly aren't going to see him on SportsCenter or MLB Network for anything that he does because he's not a flashy pitcher. He's not a flashy reliever. He doesn't throw 100 miles per hour and is about as unassuming a pickup as you can get, which I know is boring for Cardinals fans, but can't have just superstars everywhere, right? And the way the Cardinals are right now, there's going to be a few of these kind of glue guys that are going to help us get through to the next stage of this rebuild. So who is he and what does it mean for the Cardinals moving forward? Well, Bruihl, there he is, 6'2", 215, California, or as my brother calls it, California, was an undrafted free agent signed by the Dodgers. Got to the majors in 2021, did have some early success in the first two seasons, appeared in 45 games with a 3.40 ERA and an ERA plus of 123. Then in 2023, he started in the minors, but got called up, made 20 appearances with a 4.07 ERA, ended up getting DFA'd at the end of July, trade deadline stuff going on there, was eventually traded to the Rockies where he did not pitch well, 14.73 ERA in 7 appearances. Things don't usually go well for pitchers in Colorado, so keep that in mind. Ends up becoming a free agent after that season, signed with the Reds, pitched at AAA for them where he was solid, but never ended up getting called to the major leagues, was eventually released, signed with Pittsburgh where he struggled again at the big league level and was sent back to AAA, became a free agent again at the end of the 2024 season, ends up heading to Toronto on a minor league deal last year, starts at AAA where once again, solid numbers, ends up earning a call-up, and then had a 5.27 ERA in 15 appearances and appeared in the playoffs. He did. He was on. He showed up. It wasn't pretty. Gave up a home run to Cody Bellinger, lefty, against the Yankees. Then ended up getting traded to Cleveland for cash considerations, but when they signed former Cardinal reliever Sean Armstrong, they ended up DFAing him, and now he comes to St. Louis once again for my guy cash considerations, and he's going to help add some left-handed depth to the bullpen. Now, does this trade or selling, if you will, of Bruihl to the Cardinals means something else is on the horizon with their top left-handed reliever, JoJo Romero? Perhaps, but doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen, because the Cardinals don't have any left-handed reliever on the 40-man with MLB experience outside of JoJo and Nick Raquette, who has a whopping 2 innings. Okay, made his debut last year. So the Cardinals desperately need some arms from the left side. I would love to add another one to the rotation from the left side, but they certainly need some arms in the bullpen from the left side as well. And although there are still much better options out there free agent-wise, who I don't think would cost all that much, Danny Kalum, Andrew Chafin, hello. This at least gives them another one to add to the mix before spring training that certainly is very, very, very cheap. You know, this is the guy that is likely to take on the John King role. You know, I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but possibly that's what his role would be, because he fits the bill. You know, his main pitches, sinker, sweeper. But remember what John King was good at? Ground balls. Remember, you brought him in, ground ball, get that double play you can. That was his role. And ground ball rate last year, 46.2%. Also in his career, rates of ground ball rates, 51.9, 41, 49.4, 60 over his first 4 MLB seasons. So that's what he does. And that's what John King was for the Cardinals. And he's going to get a chance to compete for that role because the Cardinals have an opening for that particular role. I would still love to see them add a better option. I really would. But they aren't going to overpay for anyone. We know that. And if there's one thing they've been pretty good at over the last few seasons, it's finding veteran arms that fit what they need and them flourishing and doing well and moving on to other places. Andrew Kittredge, Phil Maton are the 2 big success stories from the free agent market. They also acquired Armstrong, who pitched well for the Cardinals and then for whatever reason was let go. And King, both of them have been solid relievers for the team. With adding Bruihl, the team is designated right-hander Zach Kent for assignment, which they got from Cleveland already back on December 5th, which also means that we've now lost one of our redheads, which, you know, is just, you know, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're just cutting redheads now? Somebody get Justin Turner on the line stat. I'm kidding. Please don't do that. 2 of the Cardinals' top prospects are getting some national attention, including Rookie of the Year predictions. How about that? We're going to talk about these guys coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get what we call the Profit Boost Pack. That's going to be waiting for you inside the app. Each game day, you're going to see this pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets that you like the most. You make the choices. You open up this Profit Boost Pack, and first thing, you know, on game day, that's what I want you to do. Open it up, see what boosts you want to apply. All right, just kind of scour through them, see which ones work for you. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. Obviously, playoff time, crazy stuff's going to take place. It's going to happen. I can't even imagine how wild this Packers-Chicago game is going to be on Saturday night. Every play just feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. So if you make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep on rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost Pack every NFL playoff game day. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Couldn't have done it without you. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level. Go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Cardinals with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. Offer just $5 a month and $50 a year if you want to go annually. Very simple to do it. Go to lockedonstlcardinals.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. So the Cardinals, as we know, we're building for the future. We get it. We understand. I know you guys want to win here in 2026, but they're not going to overpay and get some crazy free agents in here. To do that, they're going to see what they got in-house and let these guys get all the innings and all the at-bats and see what we got moving forward so we can figure out what the hell we got to go out and get eventually when the CBA thing gets figured out. So, odds are we're going to see some of the Cardinals' higher-ranked prospects up in the big leagues this year, which is great. I'm excited to see these guys make their debuts at the big league level. I think it's going to be fun. We got Jimmy Crooks at the end of last year, and by all accounts, he's going to get a chance to be one of the main backstops for the team this year. Although he didn't perform all that well, I also remember a young Mason Wynn coming up not too long ago, had a really rough end of the year, and now arguably the face of your franchise. So it's one of the positive things to look forward to. Okay. You know, when we're talking about rebuilding, it's tough. It's tough on everyone, right? Like we want to see them win. We want to go see them compete for a division crown. You want to see them compete for a championship. We want to see 90 plus wins, and they're hoping they're going to get there eventually, but they're going to need these young guys to step up to do that. At the top of the prospect list, we've got JJ Wetherholt, right? Who we've been praising since, the Cardinals snagged him, number 7 overall pick, 2024 draft. So far, he's lived up to the hype at every level that he's played. And depending on what moves are made between now and the end of spring training, he's likely going to be on the opening day roster. If I had to make a bet today, whether or not JJ was going to be on this roster, I would say yes. My feelings are that they're going to get some deals done, and there's going to be room for him to get on the roster and play every day. And I'm stoked about that. I'm way more excited about JJ Wetherholt than I was about Nolan Gorman or Jordan Walker coming up. Not over those guys yet, but there's just something different about JJ that just gets me going. I love it. I'm so excited to see him. I enjoyed watching, little bits and pieces of him in spring training last year. Obviously, we saw what he did this past year in the minor leagues, and he's just a winner, man. And I know people are afraid that moving him up too quick, that's something the Cardinals might be doing. They don't want the Cardinals to screw him up like they did with Jordan Walker. But this is two different cases altogether. Jordan was a high school kid, taken late in the first round at 21st overall, had never even played at AAA when they made the awful choice of having him on the opening day roster in 2023. It still boggles my mind as to why they did it. I was confused by it then, and now it just kind of pisses me off thinking about it, especially the way Jordan has now struggled to live up to the expectations. He was doing fine. He was on a great path, and then it just went, and I don't want to see that happen again. You don't either, but is that entirely on the Cardinals? Probably not, but it was still a horrible decision, right? I think we can agree on that. JJ, on the other hand, is coming out of college where he was one of the best players in the country. Possibility of him going number 1 overall in that class at one point. He has climbed through all 3 levels of the system with tremendous results. He's 23 years old. He's Mason Wynn's age, for crying out loud. This is not a kid how I believe Jordan Walker was when he got pulled up. So it's just a different set of circumstances altogether. And, if he has a good spring and the Cardinals have room for him to play every day, I do not bring him up and let him just hang around and just kind of be there every once in a while. No, if you're pulling him up, you play him every day. Got to make the room to play him every day by dealing away guys like Arenado, Donovan, Gorman, whoever it is, whatever they figure out. But there is a real chance that he could win the NL Rookie of the Year award, which is pretty sexy, right? MLB Pipeline did their annual executive poll where they surveyed the front offices across baseball. They talked to the GMs and scouting directors, farm directors, analysts, and a whole lot more on a bunch of different things. And they're kind of releasing them in different segments. And the first thing they ask these guys regarding prospects is like, who do you guys think is going to be the rookie of the year winner? And in the National League, 30.2% of the vote went to JJ Wetherholt, which put him in first place ahead of the Mets' Nolan McLean, who debuted last year, who's already got a leg up, and they still took JJ Wetherholt over him. In third was the Pirates' Connor Griffin. People are excited about him. Fourth, Pirates again, Bubba Chandler, which arguably one of the best pitchers in minor league baseball, got called up last year. And fifth was the Phillies center fielder Justin Crawford, who might sound familiar because he is the son of Rays Hall of Famer Carl Crawford. Was a pretty darn good player in his day. So the write-up on JJ said this: Cardinals infielder JJ Wetherholt, who they say ranked number 5 overall in prospects, had an outstanding first full season of pro ball after being the number 7 overall pick in the 24 draft, splitting the year between AA and AAA, and posting a combined 306, 421, 510 slash line with 17 home runs and 23 steals. Some were surprised he didn't get a late season audition in St. Louis, but you have to figure his bat will work its way into that lineup sooner rather than later. He's played 3 infield positions, which should help give the big league staff options for him to make the opening day roster. I still want to see him at second base. If they put him at third, so be it. I'm not afraid of that, but I think it's kind of cool to have Mason Wynn and JJ Wetherholt as your 2 guys up the middle, same age, like just being studs for the next decade as Cardinals. I think that would be awesome. So certainly have to figure out what's going to happen at third base. Is Donovan still going to be here to play? Is Nato still going to be here to play third base? Which, we keep hearing more and more about. Where's he going to go? Does anybody want this guy? We just saw, we just did that crossover with the Locked On Angels, the Super Halo brothers. And then yesterday, like John Heyman came out and said something about I don't think he wants to go to the Angels. That's what I've heard. And so I don't think anything's going to get done because the Angels don't want to pay for him. So I don't know what's going to happen with Nato. It's crazy, though. Now, I do have to warn you about these picks that these guys make. They started doing this just recently, wasn't that long ago, 2023. And so far, they've only picked the NL winner right once. They nailed it with Corbin Carroll, one of my favorite guys in the league. In the first year they started doing this. Then they picked Yoshinobu Yamamoto over Paul Skeens in 2024. Last year, they chose the Nationals' Dylan Cruz, and the winner ended up being Atlanta's Drake Baldwin, who wasn't even on the ballot. So that really took a lot of these guys by surprise. So you can look at it as if, hey, these guys suck at this and they're getting worse each year. What does that mean? Are we in trouble for JJ? Or you can mean it to be like, hey, these guys are due, right? These guys are due. Either way, I think it's pretty cool that JJ is getting this attention. It's attention that he deserves, man. He's been killing it in the minor leagues. He has done nothing but succeed. And the other thing that's great is the teams he's on do nothing but win. Everywhere he goes, the team is immediately a whole lot better and start winning. So I'm excited for it. Can't wait to see him in the big leagues this year. The next guy who was placed on one of the positive lists was top pitching prospect Liam Doyle, but he may not be on the list that fans want him to be on. I'll explain what I mean by that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Let's be real, managing your finances can feel a little overwhelming from time to time between subscriptions that you forgot about, bills that keep going up. Hello, electric bill. What is going on? And trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. Very easy to feel like you're losing control of it all. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees that you forgot about? That's where Rocket Money comes in and helps you out as the personal finance app that can help you take control of all of this. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, can help you there and help lower bills so you can grow your savings, which is what we all are trying to do as we get older. Now, you're going to be shocked when Rocket Money shows you what you've been paying for. Things that you have completely forgot about and will immediately save you money, which is great. It also tracks all your subscriptions, lets you cancel them right there in the app. You don't have to go figure it out. And, no more hunting down customer service numbers. You ever tried to find a customer service number? So annoying. And then trying to figure out what the automated menu is telling you, only to sit on hold for 20 minutes. you don't want to do that. So you can cancel these things right there on the app in a few tabs. You can set budgets and goals, get personalized insights, receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, low balances. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Now, when the Cardinals selected Liam Doyle with the 5th overall pick in the 2025 draft, most people pointed out that as great as he was in college, big strikeout totals on a heck of a program at Tennessee, a velo, right? Left side, his big pitches were the fastball, which was one of the best fastballs in the country, and the split finger fastball. All right. And then because of the effort that you see him throw with and just kind of his mentality on the mound, where he was kind of an insane, crazy man at times, he reminded a lot of people of more of a closer than a starter. When he got drafted, flooded with people going, cool, we just took a closer, 5th overall, just because of the way he is. You know, you see his mannerisms, the energy that he throws with, the intensity that he provides, and it's fair to question whether or not he can maintain all of that over 6 innings every 5th day. Starter in college. It's not like he was a closer in college. He was a starter in college, so it's not like he hasn't been doing this, but he only went, and I went and did the math on this, looking at his college stats, only went 6 innings or more in 7 of his 19 appearances in college. Now he's also striking out a buttload of guys, so the pitch count goes up because of that too. But still, it's fair to ask whether or not starting is the best path of success for him. For now, he's going to be a starter. That's where he's going to begin his journey. That's what he was doing last year. Although he wasn't throwing 6 innings because he was just coming out of college and they just would give him a certain pitch count. He'd throw a couple innings and he'd be out. But it's not like this is something that we've never seen before. I've seen plenty of guys over the years grunting like Sonny Gray when he throws the ball. Al Leiter back in the day would like yell as he released the ball. You know, Randy Johnson was putting all his 6'10" frame into each and every pitch. You know, you see guys, there's plenty of them that are giving off that much energy when they throw, you know, being that intense each and every pitch and using what you would call like maximum effort, right? And doing it on every throw. We've seen them succeed as a starter. It's not like it's never happened before, but the list that Doyle happens to be on suggests that front offices think he could eventually be a closer. In fact, when they were asked which pitching prospect is the best future closer, 29.3% of them voted for Liam Doyle, which had him finish in first place over Jarlin Susana of the Nationals, Noah Schultz of the White Sox, Travis Sikora of the Nationals, and the Mets' Brandon Sproat. But it's not all bad. I'm here to tell you it's not all bad. Why? Because the write-up about Liam Doyle when this was released says that Jacob Misiorowski, the Miz, we remember him from the Brewers last year, topped this list for 2 consecutive years, but his graduation from prospect status left the door open. Susana had tied the Miz a year ago, but he's in second place this time, yielding to Cardinals 2025 first-rounder Doyle. That might be a bit disquieting to Cardinals Nation, given that the team took him number 5 overall, but his combination of unorthodox delivery and effort had some scouts concerned. St. Louis should hope this follows the Max Scherzer storyline, since many evaluators thought the future Hall of Famer would end up in a bullpen because of his violent delivery in college. There were 17 total pitchers mentioned, and Doyle's share of votes is close to what Misiorowski got in 2024. I don't think it's a shocker to say that if Doyle ends up like Jacob Misiorowski for the Cardinals, then we're going to do a whole lot of complaining. I think Cardinal Nation would be pretty darn happy if that's what ended up happening. But it does show you, in another light, it does show you how highly they think of his stuff, right? Will we see Doyle in 2026? I'm not banking on it. It's not something that I If I had to place a bet on that, I would say no. I would think they would give him at least a full year in the minor leagues before pulling him up to the major leagues. But if he progresses well in AA and AAA, a late season call-up wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Maybe he does come up and take over a bullpen role just to get his feet wet in the major leagues. That's a possibility. Finally, let's wrap things up with the big trade. The Chicago Cubs improved their rotation on Wednesday, striking a deal with the Miami Marlins for right-hander Edward Cabrera. The Cubs are sending MLB Pipeline's top Cubs prospect, outfielder Owen Casey, who was number 47 overall, plus infield prospects Christian Hernandez, number 11 on the Cubs top 30, and Edgardo De Leon. Cabrera will be 28 this April, is coming off his best season with the Marlins, posted a 3.53 ERA, career best in starts, got 26 of those in the innings, 137 and 2/3, strikeouts at 150. He has always had what I would call and describe as tantalizing stuff. All right. There are days when you saw Edward Cabrera throw and you're like, how is this kid not a star? And one of the main reasons why is that he continuously gets hurt. A lot of injuries through the years. Had multiple things flare up on him last year. Still 26 starts, which I think people will take. Cardinals did see him twice last year. First game he pitched really well against them, but the Birds ended up winning that one 7-1. That was actually, and when I looked this up, I was like, oh my gosh. Andre Palante's final win of the season was in that game against Edward Cabrera. July 28th was the last time Andre Palante won a Major League Baseball game. And then the second time around, when the Cardinals faced him, they lit him up pretty good. 6 runs, 11 hits, 4 1/3 innings. Michael McGreevy got the win over him in that particular game as well. So the Cubs rotation is pretty good. You know, give credit where credit is due, man. NL Rookie of the Year runner-up, Cade Horton. Lefty Matthew Boyd, who had an outstanding season last year, all-star. Jameson Taillon is still there. Shota Imanaga, even though they didn't really want him to come back, he ended up saying, "No, I'm going to take you up on that offer." Ended up sticking around, but their former ace Justin Steele, he's working his way back from that left elbow injury. Might be available in the first half, is what we're hearing. But that's a pretty solid rotation that the Cubs got going on. And then you remember they went out and got multiple bullpen arms to help add some depth there. So the pitching side of things for the Cubs looking pretty good, and they're still being mentioned among the teams that are in on guys like Alex Bregman, Bo Bichette. Is Kyle Tucker going to come back to them as after being with them last year? Who are they going to fork over the funds for? That feels like the next move for Chicago is to get a big bat. That's the next thing that they'll do. The Nico Horner trade stuff is crazy to me. Like, he's one of the players I just love. Like, even though he's a Cub, I freaking love this dude. So we'll see what happens there. But the Cubs doing some nice things. You know, the Brewers have done very little so far this year. Might end up trading away their ace Freddie Peralta if they get what they're asking for. The Reds have added some depth pieces, but nothing super impactful. The Pirates have improved for sure. Could be interesting. They got a heck of a staff going there with Skeens, Keller, and Bubba Chandler leading their rotation. And then you've got our Cardinals who are rebuilding and trading away veterans. So this division, despite Milwaukee's dominance over the last few years, on paper, to me, it's starting to lean towards the Cubs again. You know, maybe Milwaukee surprises everyone. I feel like they took everybody by surprise last year with how consistent and good they were. Will they do it again this year? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them. But the Cubs, despite not making a splash move yet, have really done some good things. And, you know, I feel they're going to be tough, man. They're going to be tough. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Obviously, this arbitration stuff, we'll have more on that when it all becomes available. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. If you haven't joined yet, get Locked On Cardinals ad-free, plus members-only Discord access, which makes me want to buy a members-only jacket. I don't know about you. Every time I say it, I want to go get one for like $20 off eBay. I know I have issues, but head to lockedonstlcardinals.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on the video side, sending you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel on audio. Make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.